My tribe was forced to Nebraska when the Sioux was in warring times. We walked hundreds of miles to settle in Nebraska. Upon arriving, we built our homes. Our people called them earth lodges. All members of the family live in them, sometimes even the horses. Finally feeling established, the Europeans arrived bringing their trade goods along with disease. A disease called smallpox wiped out 600 of our 800 tribe members. With hard work, our people rose back to 800 members. From 1842 to 1879, everything was great. We began making seasonal hunting trips to the plains, taking our horses so we could move swiftly and carry the buffalo home. Due to decisions of the governments, we were pushed off our land. 1/3 of our tribe died. Among these deaths was my son. Being able to bury members of the tribe on their sacred lands was very important to the Poncas. When Standing Bear's son died, him and 30 other Poncas began traveling back to the tribal lands against the government's law. General Crook was instructed to follow and capture them. He sympathized with Standing Bear and decided to help him. A trial was organized. This would be the most notable trial of the West. The trial was seeking to make 100,000 Native Americans human under the law. Finally, at the end of the trial, the judge let Standing Bear speak for himself. This was the first time a Native American was able to defend himself in court. That hand is not the color of yours, but if I pierce it, I shall feel pain. If you pierce your hand, you'll also feel pain. The blood that will flow from mine will be the same color as yours. I am a man. God made us both. I seem to be standing on a high bank of a great river, with my wife and my little girl at my side. I cannot cross the river, and impassable cliffs arise behind me. I hear the noise of great waters. I look and see a flood coming. The waters rise to our feet and then to our knees. My little girl stretches her hands towards me and says, "Save me." I stand where no member of my race ever stood before. There is no tradition to guide me. The chiefs who preceded me knew nothing of the circumstances that surround me. I hear only my little girl say, "Save me." In despair, I look towards the cliffs behind me, and I seem to see a dim trail that may lead to a way of light. But no Indian ever passed over that trail. It looks to be impassable. I make the attempt. I take my child by the hand, and my wife follows after me. Our hands and our feet are torn by the sharp rocks, and our trail is marked by our blood. At last I see a rift in the rocks. A little way beyond there are green prairies. The swift running water, the Niobrara, pours down between the green hills. There are the graves of my fathers. There again we will pitch our teepee and build our fires. I see the light of the world and of liberty just ahead. But in the center of the path there stands a man. Behind him I see soldiers in numbers like the leaves of the trees. If that man gives me the permission, I may pass on to life and liberty. If he refuses, I must go back and sink beneath the flood. You are that man. Silence swept over the courtroom as Chief Standing Bear sat down. Judge Dundee quietly began to cry, while General Kirk covered his face with his hands. The entire audience rose to their feet in one swift motion, yelling and shouting at a volume never heard before in a Nebraska courtroom. When Judge Dundee said, "Court is dismissed," his words were drowned out by the crowds cheering as they rushed over to Standing Bear. The trial ended, and after a few days, it was decided that the Indian was a person and was entitled to protection under the law. Standing Bear finally began his journey to his homeland to bury his son with travel honors.